Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are dancer Yeon Jin Cho and artist Patrick Kikut. Ballet dancer Yeon Jin Cho was born and raised in Seoul, Korea. She earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance at Chung-Ang University in Seoul. Prior to the university, she graduated with honors in ballet from the Dukwon Arts High School. I hope I'm saying that all right.
That's right.
I guess you always wanted to be a dancer.
Yeah. I mean, I started really late though. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, really late, 16.
Oh.
Yeah, which is not impossible, which is, really bad.
Was there dancing in your family?
No, not at all.
Then why did you decide to start dancing?
First of all, I like to move some part of my body, just wanted to. First, when I was young, I did gymnastics a little bit, but I liked it, but I didn't continue going. So my mom suggested me when I was 16, so I just started.
So you didn't even think about,
Yeah.
What were you going to do? Did you have any idea what you wanted to be when you grew up?
I was just a positive girl, I didn't really even think about that, but then I just found ballet.
Well, when you found ballet, what kind of training did you get? And at the university, is that where you started getting trained?
I actually started at Daewon High School.
Oh, you did start there. What kind of training did they give you?
It's in Korea. There's lots of Russian ballet teacher. So our style is totally Russian ballet style. Russia.
Oh, so it just started with ballet dancing?
Yeah.
Did you take any other kind of dancing?
No.
No
Just
Russian
ballet.
traditional?
Yes, it's part of ballet, so we learn everything. So I just call it ballet training.
You call it ballet
Everything's
training?
included. Yeah.
What about music?
Music we have to do in the class.
In like what type?
It's actually when I was in this Daewon High School, we have to know how to count these things. This is the part of ballet. So, yeah.
To count out the music?
Yeah, it is.
Did you have to learn about the composers?
Yeah, sure. Of the ballet, who composed this music, things. Yeah.
And was there a repertoire that you learned at that time?
Yeah, sure.
So as part of what, high school or university? What was that?
Both of them. Yeah.
And what were the repertoires that you learned?
It's
Dances from the...
Maybe I don't really understand.
What ballet dances did, parts of the dance?
Like Swan Lake?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, Swan Lake, Don Quixote, and Giselle, and Romeo and Juliet, and all of this.
Did you learn every part of it or just one part?
Everything.
You have to learn everything?
Yeah.
Even the chorus?
Yeah, you have to. You have to know then.
And which was difficult for you?
Which was the music is every part is different. Don Quixote, for example, it's really Spanish style of music. For example, Giselle, I don't know you know.
Yes.
Yeah, Giselle, it's like really romantic, slowly these things. We have to catch things, just one moment like this. That's the difficult and character as well.
Character acting. Did you learn that?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. Yeah.
And then did you go out of university? Did you go right to work with the Korean National Ballet?
Yeah.
You did? They put you right in the ballet?
I was lucky and actually when I was young I was much skinnier than I am.
This is pretty skinny.
Not right now, that moment. And so they just liked me. Yeah, so I was lucky, I would say.
But you were probably really good because you're so tall and thin.
my teacher said I have nice proportions.
You had the right proportions
Yeah.
for a ballet dancer.
Yeah.
So how were you chosen for the Korean? Did you have to audition?
Yeah, I did audition. There's many of girls there who wanted to go there, to be there. Yeah, I was there.
And who had danced longer than you, probably?
Of course. I'm telling you, I was lucky. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, yeah, but I was enjoyed it there also.
When you were with the Korean National Ballet, did you tour the country?
Yeah, I toured my country, and then we went Japan, 15 city, and Russia. Yeah.
And were they only Korean
Company? No.
in the Korean company? Were they only native Korean people, or did they let other people come into the?
There's two company, which is Korean National Ballet,
Yeah.
which I was.
Yes.
And there's Universal Ballet Company, but Korean National Ballet Company, there's just Korean.
And the other one was Universal, did you say?
There's another country.
And then that was a mix?
Yeah, that's mixed.
You went also to the Princess Grace Academy of Dance in
Yeah.
Monaco. Did you study there for a long
Yeah,
time?
I studied almost 3 years.
And was that a special thing to get into that?
Yeah, it was special. And first of all, I started really late, so I wanted to learn more. So I quit this company. Everybody say you're crazy, but
You quit the company and went there?
Yeah, I went there. And it was really good to be there. It was. Really
How did you get in?
I just sent my videotape to
Uh-huh.
the school, and then the director chose me.
And how many people were in that school, and how many kinds of teachers were there?
There's actually the directress. She's Russian, but all of this style it's like French school. You know, Monaco is actually part of French,
I see.
and there is.
So aside from the Russian
Yeah,
traditional,
yeah.
you had the French.
Yeah,
I see. I
exactly.
see. And was it the same technique that you were learning in
Yeah,
Korea?
Yeah, it was Russian style. So
It was. It
Yeah,
was.
it was
So
really-
how difficult was it then to make the transition to come here?
first, I mean, I like here U.S. I like here. I mean, I like challenge. To some place. I want to try this place. I want to try this place. So I just got here.
Well, when you came to America, did you go right to Media City Ballet, or did you go some other place first?
First, I came to New York to my brother's. My brother, he lives there.
Oh, that's right.
So, yeah. So I was looking for some company in U.S. I looked at internet and I found this company. This company I like because really Russian style. They keep this classical ballet.
Tell us about the Media City Ballet. It's in Burbank.
Yeah, it's in Burbank, and this director is Natasha. She's her father and grandmother both were really great ballet dancer. And so she's continuing these things. Yeah.
Because she learned the right way,
Yeah,
Natasha.
exactly.
Will you stay with the company, or are you just a guest?
I'm staying.
And what are you dancing? Because they're doing the Passion of Spain, which I think they did last year.
Yeah,
But it's a wonderful, exciting ballet.
Yeah.
It's a group of different.
Yeah, I can say this is gala show.
A gala, yeah.
Gala show, and it's not like a swan lake, just one part. It's just chosen, just a Spanish part. You know, in Swan Lake there is Spanish part. In Don Quixote, totally Spanish part. So we chose these things. So we're going to performing 19th of August, Alex Theater.
They perform at the Alex Theater.
Yeah.
And what parts what will you be dancing?
It's my debut, first time.
It is?
Yes.
And what will you be dancing?
I'm dancing Carmen, and I'm dancing one of the part in Don Quixote, solo part, and I'm dancing also with other girls in Bolero.
And there's another dancer, Armin Sorobian. Do
Yeah.
you dance with him?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't dance,
Yeah.
but he also is in the
Yeah,
company.
sure.
Natasha's company, the Media City Ballet, is like the United Nations.
Exactly.
There's so many different people in it.
Exactly. I know. That's it's helping me, you know. It's like if I'm just only one Korean, I'm maybe kind of nervous, you know, because I don't speak very well. But these people's helping me because they do understand what I'm, you know.
Who are some of the people there?
It's
Where
like
are they from?
Russian,
Russian.
me, Armenian, and I think from all of them. But they are really different.
U.S.
Yeah, U.S.
American?
Yeah, sure, sure, that's sure.
What is your favorite role, actually?
Actually, really opposite Romeo and Juliet. It's like really, you know, romantic, just kind of sad. Because one time I want to cry on the stage once, emotionally.
But that's what makes a ballet dancer, isn't it? The emotion that you're feeling for the role.
Yeah.
So you have to know the story.
Yeah.
You have to live the story.
Yeah, that's what I'm really trying to learn right now because I'm doing Carmen, which is opposite. Yeah.
Is that your personality, Carmen?
A little bit. A little bit.
Is it?
Yeah, a little bit.
And then who's the choreographer there?
It's by Natasha Kebekov, our director, and also her husband, also director in Oscar Kebekov.
And do they teach you different things that you didn't know before? Do they bring different styles?
Sure. I mean, the style, it's, you know, their Russian style, everything's okay. But the character, because Carmen, it's not just ballet, character dance, character ballet. So they're just teaching me with passion, you know, how to act this part. It's most I needed, yeah. So now,
And do you still take dance lessons?
sure, I have to. I have to. If you're a dancer, you have to take class. You have to learn every day till you die. Yeah.
And then what about the Korean community here? Are you a part of it at all?
Oh, not really, but I'm trying to get it because I didn't really know how much big it is. But now
It's very big,
I can
isn't it?
feel it.
But the Korean community has a very cultured side and would be a great following for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good for me, which I didn't even know. I really want to know. I think I'll be fine there. Yeah.
I hope you do.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you came and told us about
You're welcome.
your experiences in Los Angeles.
You're welcome. And I hope you're coming. To
I
our,
will. I'll come
19th of
watch
August.
it. Yeon Jin Cho, our ballet dancer for today. Don't go away. We'll be right back with artist Patrick Kikut. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Artist Patrick Kikut was born in Massachusetts and raised in Manhattan Beach. It's like the two opposite ends of the country. He earned a BFI at the University of Colorado and his MFA from the University of Montana. Patrick, you say you travel a lot. It's a big influence in your work, and I see that your theme has to do with so much of your traveling as a child. Where did you go, and how did you use that as a youngster?
Well, I didn't know that so much that I was using it, I guess, but luckily enough, my family bought a Volkswagen camper in 1974, and Manhattan Beach had a bumper sticker that said, "There's no life east of Sepulveda," which I always thought was a little curious and a little myopic, and I was lucky to have a family that liked to go east of Sepulveda from time to time, and we would go into the Mojave or into Mexico or up the Owens Valley, and just spending time in the vehicle with my family and looking at those spaces, it was curious to me, and I didn't expect it to be such a big theme of my artwork. But
Do you think they were traveling because they were from the East Coast, from Massachusetts?
No, actually my dad is an immigrant from Estonia, and my mom was
he
a
was?
Navy brat, and they just thought that would be a good experience to have in California, and the Southwest is so interesting to travel through. So.
The Southwest,
Yeah.
because probably for someone from Estonia, the Southwest was like a really foreign country rather than just being in the U.S.
Yeah, like my father still loves the Grand Canyon and would spend every weekend there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So you said you looked out of the windows and you were like filling in. It was almost like the travelogue. You were filling in different things that travelogue people wouldn't think about.
Yeah, I guess maybe what you're asking is, or what I could say is, when I started making artwork, I thought that there were so many great artists that had done real spectacular landscapes, and I thought maybe my job should be the in-between landscapes.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
And so with those in-between spaces, maybe, like I've said, in between the national parks, there's a lot of interesting landscape there, and it's curious to me.
Do you still go hunting and fishing, and do you spend time doing that?
Yeah, I've never gone hunting, but I...
Oh, you haven't?
No, but I do fish and caught some fish this summer. Actually. Yeah.
But you're still outside.
Yeah, of
where
course.
do you live?
I live currently in Laramie, Wyoming, and
So that's the big influence, I guess.
Of
It's
course,
that whole, Cowboys and Indians.
well, not so much cowboys and Indians, but open space, and this kind of, there's a lot of in-between space there, and it's important for me to be on landscapes and live in the landscapes that I'm going to make my artwork about.
So do you paint horses, Indians?
No, I don't.
You don't do that?
No, I don't do that either. I don't paint. Besides this new body of work, maybe that we'll talk about earlier, this is the first time that figures or animals have shown up in my work. Usually I keep my landscapes empty of actual figures, but just like residue of our impact on the land.
Would you say more minimal? How do you describe it?
Or maybe I wouldn't call my work minimal, but I would say maybe I would describe it as stripped down. But I'm trying to look with an honest eye at the landscape, and there's so often traces of our encroaching culture on the land, and that's what's curious to me.
What kind of materials do you use?
I have done everything from oil painting to watercolors to printmaking, and actually have done some sculpture and site-specific sculpture as well.
Sculpture, I think one of the things, were they called bee boxes?
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, it came from a project that I did when I was in Montana. I gave myself often time an excuse to travel. And I was placing these survival boxes, I call them survival boxes, out onto the land and just leaving them there. In the survival box would be a can of beans and some money and a candle and a map and maybe a little sketchbook. And I would just leave them and then travel back to my studio, and that was it.
How far were they from your studio?
I would always have to cross state lines, so I would go into Dakotas. Anyway, when I was doing these boxes and leaving them out there, I saw stacks of bee boxes out on the landscape too, and I thought, oh, I should go look at those more carefully, and found that in the bee boxes there's frames of there's frames where the bees will produce their honeycomb, and I thought, oh, what a great idea to make a box with 10 different paintings in there, and have that be like a container, and this work can travel easily, and it did travel well.
But then what happened to your survival boxes? What was the end of that?
I don't know. It was just, like I said, the most important thing was an excuse to get me out on the land, to experience the land, and to give myself time driving and thinking.
Were they gone? Did you ever look back?
I never went back to look at them. It was done.
That's interesting. I mean, that seems like a happening,
Yeah.
kind of like a happening,
Yeah.
a site-specific happening.
Yeah, basically it was, and a lot of them, I put one on the salt flats of Utah, and then another one, I know I put in the South Dakota line, and it was almost like sending a bottle out into the ocean, you know, like a message.
Yeah.
And so that occurred to me after I did it too. I'm just sending these things out, and I was just interested in trying to make artwork that didn't go through gallery channels at that point.
Another series that you did with Remington, the great painter of the Southwest, and this is one painting from your series. How did you get interested in that, in Remington? Because there was sculpture, right, and paintings too.
Yeah, I was mostly looking at his painting, and actually I was lucky enough to have my work included in a show at the El Paso Museum of Art, where they were using their collection and trying to add contemporary landscapes along with more traditional Western landscapes. There were some of my heroes were in the show, like Bierstadt, I think Moran, and a couple other painters that I really liked. Remington isn't my favorite painter, but I took my dad to the museum, And at the end of it, he said, God, I can't believe you're in the same gallery with Frederick Remington. And I thought, Remington, that's like, that guy's
You
not
didn't
cool.
care?
Yeah, that guy's not cool. Like all these other painters are so much better.
Bierstadt, right?
Yeah, yeah. But then I started thinking, what is it about Remington that people are so drawn to? Why is my dad drawn to it? And I looked at his work and thought about it a little bit more, and I thought, you know, I like Remington, but maybe I'll repaint his paintings without the figures in it.
That's what you did
And
here.
so that led to a whole, and I did one painting, and that led to, I think I did about 30 of them.
But without figures, without horses.
Without all
did
the
you
action.
strip everything out of
I
it?
stripped everything out of it besides what was on the land.
So would this really have been what a Remington painting would have been, this mountain, this,
Well,
this
yeah,
formation?
Yeah, so this original painting had all these cavalrymen coming over the wall here, and
Very
they were
full. His
yeah,
paintings
very
were
full,
very
and they were
full.
all getting blasted, and there were dead soldiers all over, and you know, people dying. And my project was to leave everything that was on the ground, so like some time had passed. And the other thing I did was I changed the light source so it looked like maybe some time had passed, and the
They're
results.
darker.
A
Were
little
those
bit darker.
Yeah.
He painted a real flat, even light. It was almost like noon light. And
so
I
you
decided to throw some shadows into it. And these were the results. The results, in my mind, became a lot more mysterious than a Remington painting.
And what do we find in the foreground?
These are 2 rifles and 2 hats. The other things I changed, the hats I believe that were in the snow in the original paintings were blue. I changed them to orange to be more contemporary, like hunter orange.
Did they ever hang side by side?
No, that would be a good project, but
I think that sounds like a really good show.
that would be a great show.
I like that. Talking about shows, you have something going at the Crossing Tracks Gallery in San Diego.
Yeah.
It's wildlife art,
Yeah.
which is what I kept thinking you were doing.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely new to me. And like I said, I usually try to take figures out of the landscape. So this is a new thing for me.
Should I show these?
Sure. I was recently invited to do some printmaking at 10 Grand Gallery, or 10 Grand Press in Brooklyn, New York, and decided to bring these wildlife stickers out and incorporate them into the prints. I'm currently living in Wyoming, and when I first got to Wyoming a year ago, everybody said, oh, well, there's a lot of bad wildlife art here, but there's some good artists, and kind of apologizing for this.
Because
Well,
that's what you think of in that
yeah.
area, right?
Meanwhile, I thought, well, I want to make some good wildlife art, or let me give a try. If everybody's dismissing it so much, maybe there's something interesting there. I made this body of work, and these stickers are basically, these stickers come from the National Park
This is
Service.
a sticker, right?
This is a sticker, and this is a copper plate. And
And this is a
this is a print.
animal.
An animal, yes.
What
it's
animal?
It's a coyote.
Okay. And
The
then
idea
we
is-
have,
A bighorn sheep.
and these are all stickers, right?
These are all stickers.
And
The
you use the same background?
No, they're different. Actually, this is, and like I'm kind of breaking all my rules. In one hand, I'm showing animals, and on the other hand, the back of these, or the line drawing in the back, are from national parks. So.
And then I'm going to show this.
This is a
A
wolverine.
different background. Now
Yeah.
I can see the backgrounds
That's
are different.
Tetons. That's the horizon of the Tetons in Wyoming, actually. And this is Yellowstone, the strange shapes of the hot springs there in Yellowstone.
And this is like collaged on.
Yeah, just glued on and run through
It's
the
a
press.
real sticker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the last one. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that bird. I don't know exactly what kind of bird that is. I got this idea from driving behind so many vehicles with animals stuck on the back of the bumpers. You know, I thought, oh, I should use some of those sometime.
So when you do this show, it's an installation,
Mm-hmm.
featured attractions it's called. What will that be?
It will be these prints, and I have another body of prints and some drawings, as well as larger oil paintings where I have attached animals to these larger oil paintings as well. So
But-
the animals seem kind of flat and displaced on this
Are the
landscape.
animals painted by you, or
Yes.
are they also
Yeah.
stickers?
No, I used the stickers. I kind of did like paint by numbers with,
Did
with
you?
those. But I blew them up, but I used the stickers as kind of my guideline.
And do you continue to be out in the wilderness?
Yeah, of course, that's my job. To either be out and traveling and looking, or to be in the studio.
And have you collaborated with other artists? Have you worked with other artists? Like,
I have in the past, the closest, but usually to work to myself.
like
But I've done-
theater? Have you ever thought of doing theater work? Or?
No, I haven't, but I'm open.
And costuming? I keep thinking of so many things, that cultural mix.
No, I haven't. I have not done any theater work or costume.
Have you ever illustrated a book?
I used to make artist books. I haven't in a while, but
Oh, I like that.
yeah.
Tell us about that.
Actually, that was another thing that I was doing when I was putting those survival boxes out onto the landscape. I was making a lot of books, and actually the bee boxes that you mentioned earlier, I thought of those as actually being books, because there were 10 paintings, and you could look at one painting and then look at the other and then look at the other and go on from there. So my idea when I was working with boxes and books, those two things, boxes and books, became so similar. They're both, a box and a book are both containers for information or containers for things, and that's how I use those.
Well, I think one thing in the way you're talking and the way you're teaching, you've taught a lot, haven't you?
Yes.
You've taught a lot of classes, and
Yes.
do you teach what we're talking about today, or do you start with beginning artists?
Yeah, I teach beginning painting. I really like teaching beginning painting, and I've taught all levels of painting, even graduate students, and I like every level of it. I like watching a student just learn how to put compositions together and learn how to apply paint, all the way through to their developing of ideas, and then to see a BFA show at the end where they're now a colleague and on their way.
That's so great.
I
Thank
like
you
it.
so
Yeah.
much for being with us today.
Thank you for having
Patrick Kikut.
Yeah.
And thank you for being with us. We'll read your letters if you write to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 90017. See you next time.